Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is Susan Lynn, and I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today I'm just going to finish up some business, right? You guys sent in some questions that you had regarding politics, and you wanted me to ask my spirit guides. And I'm just going to finish up these questions. And there's some pretty interesting questions in here. So I think you might enjoy hearing what the guides have to say. So we're going to start off with Lori F., who says the polls were released today and have flipped greatly, especially with independent women, meaning not Republican and not Democrat, in favor of the GOP because of the economy, including rising inflation, hikes in gas prices, and the stock market volatility. And Lori wants to know, has the energy flipped? Because my guides have always been, where they've been saying for a while, that the House would pick up seats, the Senate would pick up seats. Now, it's always good, right, to go back in and check on the energy, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Yes, so this is what they're saying, right? So the last video I did, I'm pretty sure that we mentioned that the House was volatile, right? The voting for the House, or the outcome of the seats for the House, is pretty volatile. It's a little bit up and down. And that is really showing this sort of unsettled energy around voting and around voting for Democrats. We just haven't been able to do as much. Now, of course, they've got this fantastic bill through, but we're not going to see anything really, the fruits of that labor, for a year, and in some cases, maybe even 3 years down the road. So, to them, it looks like we've done nothing. So I'm going to check in. When I go into the Senate seems good. It seems pretty stable. The energy feels stable to me. I still feel that we're going to pick up seats in the Senate. And they're saying right now we might be surprised. We might actually pick up an additional seat we weren't thinking that we would get. Today is the 17th of October, so we'll see. But the Senate feels great. Now let me go into the House. I get it. I see the energy. I can see this energy of women that are undecided, that may, right. Okay, right. Okay. There are some kind of vocal women, or let's say vocal women, or woman energy, or energetic energy, that kind of thing, that they're just like kind of really upset, and they're vocal. So they're more likely to answer a phone call, take a poll. They're angry, they're irritated. Okay, so that is what these pollsters have tapped into. They've tapped into that energy. They're getting those results. You and I both know that you got to sell ads, and to sell ads, you need a good headline, and you need, some kind of controversial thing to say. This all just is a little too pat. It's a little too on the nose, the guides are saying. So it doesn't matter. It's a lot like the MAGA people, right? They're small, but they're loud. So that's what this group is. The guides are still showing me this undercurrent of energy that the polls are still not picking up, that no one is picking up. That is, and they are a lot of women, and they are really and truly, they're voting around choice, around having a choice of their healthcare, of their body. So they're voting around the Roe v. Wade situation. That seems to be really, motivating a lot more people than anybody seems to be looking into. Like, I don't see any polls specifically really targeting that issue. Well, if they do, again, who are they going to, you guys? They're polling people with landlines. They're polling people who want to take polls. Ask an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, So again, the guides are saying When I first read your question, they said our fingernails are going to be chewed off by the end of this election because it is going to be fraught with all kinds of worries, right? We're all going to be worrying and concerned, and we're trying to seek information. The majority of Americans get information from some sort of news source. And the news source wants everybody to be fraught with worry and freaking out because it makes you look at the headline and it makes you click on it, open it, and then they get ad revenue. So again, the energy has not flipped. There is an undertow. I mean, a lot. So we want to talk about a blue wave. I guess that's why I was just asking them, like, why are you using these words having to do with water? But we often talk about blue wave, right? So there's an undertow. It may not be a wave that everybody is seeing. There's certainly an undertow. And I will tell you this too. If there weren't so many shenanigans with registering to VOTE, you would see numbers like you've never, I mean, we are going to have record numbers this year, but I do believe we could add another 25% to that total if there weren't so many shenanigans going on with the places, the polling places being reduced and people being kicked off the rolls and just so many things, right? And we're not even there yet. We haven't even got to the point where I think there's going to be a lot of intimidation. So that's a whole nother thing. But overall, listen, I think we're on track. I see the House as being blue. We're not going to lose the House. I know that really smart people are saying this, but I don't. They're not psychics. They need to tune into their local psychic and be able to chill out, because I don't see it. It's and it's not that I'm always right. I don't think our community is seeing this on the whole, number one. And number two, when I feel energy this strong, it would be hard for me. I can't think of a time when I felt energy this strong that I was wrong. So, sometimes it's like, not sure. And you guys know I'm honest with you. You can see it on my face before I even say it. We're not going to lose the House. Everything is going to be okay. Try to just trust that there are huge numbers of people that are going to be going to the polls. And you will see it when we start early voting. You will see it. It will be astonishing. Now, of course, that's going to cause, an opposite reaction from the Republicans. God only knows what they'll do, but they'll see it coming. But thank you for your question. I understand. I totally understand how you can get wrapped up in that energy because it's easy to get wrapped up in it. Thank you. Okay. BJ Helder says, how long will the GOP ELECTION? I literally cannot say certain words between now and November 6th. Okay. I can't. I already had a video taken down. I had to have a whole thing with YouTube. So I'm sorry if I'm spelling things. I know some of you guys don't watch the video, so it doesn't help me to put it on the screen. So I may spell things for a little while. Okay. So how long will the GOP deny the outcome this time around? Right. So it's a good question. It really is actually a really good question. And it's something that I feel like the guides want you to know, because I feel like my guides often want to help us adjust our expectations. So forewarned is forearmed. If you have an inkling or an idea that this is going to go on for a few more days, then you're not as likely to be upset when it happens. Okay. So yes, I feel like this could, to be honest with you guys, the media is already warning us and saying, look, it's going to take a few days past, or at least 24 to 48 hours past, just to count things. But I'm here to tell you, I see it being about a week for some races to be The races will be decided. They will be called. Okay, they'll be called. But you and I both know, because we have previous experience that shows us that they're probably going to challenge some of these things. So I fully expect some of these things to be challenged. I expect quite a few of them to be challenged all around the South, the South and the East, all through, Atlanta, Georgia, any place that has minorities that vote, they're gonna ask for recounts and all kinds of crazy stuff. And that will be something we will deal with. But I feel like there's something in particular that could go into December, which sounds crazy to me, but this is what they've been saying for over a month now. There's really potential that at least one race will go, maybe it goes to a court. I don't really know how something could go on to December, but there's real potential that at least one race goes that long. The rest of them, I really feel like, yes, there's going to be some challenges, and we'll deal with that. We've done it once before. We kind of know. We've seen this movie. We know how it ends. We know how to deal with it. And most of the races will be, called and certified within a reasonable amount of time, 5 days after the actual race, which is ridiculous, but it is what it is. I don't know what this one race is that could go to December. I think it could be in Georgia, or it could be in North Carolina. It's not 100%. It's not 100%, but there's a good chance that something could get kicked down the road, meaning kind of kicked into the court system or something. I don't know how that can happen, but at this point, who knows? Anything can happen, right? I mean, we've seen it all, or we think we've seen it all. I hope we've seen it all. Thank you for your question. So much appreciate it. B. Barrera says, ask the guides if they see the Veteran Administration taking away all benefits to veterans and active military that participated in January 6th. Can they do that? Can they take away their veterans' benefits? I mean, this is all unprecedented. I mean, we've not had this happen. We've never had a coup on our United States like this in probably over 150 years. Okay. Do I see the Veteran Administration taking away all the benefits to the veterans and active? Okay, the active military, yes, the active military will likely be, I just heard the words court-martialed. I don't know what that means exactly, but they will be stripped of rank. They're telling me they'll be stripped of rank. They may be dishonorably discharged if they're active, stripped of rank and dishonorably discharged. Why would you strip them of rank and dishonorably discharge them? I don't know, but that's what they're saying. So yes, the active military, they're going to feel it. They're going to feel that. Now the veterans, I got to be honest with you. I don't feel the energy to take away their like VA benefits, like their healthcare benefits. I don't see that. What I do see is Congress passing a law that says if you're a veteran of the United States military and you participate in X, Y, or Z, this is what's going to happen to you. So I think you'll see Congress taking upon themselves to pass some new laws so that should this happen in the future, and they're just now telling me they will also address Secret Service, FBI, CIA, anybody that works for the government, not just the military. If you're working for the government and you participate in whatever, they'll outline it. They'll have a look after the January 6th committee. I think they have a pretty good working outline of what you should and shouldn't do, and what a traitor is and what treason is. So I see them passing a new law that pretty much tells people, and you will sign this as part of your work. And you know what they're telling me also? This is very interesting. I was just seeing people, new employees, right? You sign whatever it is that you sign, but now there's a whole nother, and I'm hearing the word fealty, right? when you pledge fealty. Does that make sense? But now they're telling me contractors, they'll actually make contractors. This is really important. They're telling me this is really important because, of course, the government is full of contractors now. And these contractors, some of them have very sensitive jobs and can have access to sensitive information. And they really, and now when I say they, I'm seeing now Congress, right? Congress will enact some sort of law. They have a name for it. I don't know what it's called. It has a name, like, you know how they name laws? Well, they have a name for it. And basically it says, if you're a contractor to the United States government, you're going to be held to this same accountability that a military person would, or, you know, a federal employee, CIA, FBI, whatever. So that's really important. Now they're going to say, hey, if you're getting money from the government, we're going to hold you accountable to this new standard. So I think that's really important. And I think it also must underscore that they have found some contractors that have maybe overstepped some lines, because they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't already have the experience, right? That somebody's done something wrong. That was a contractor. So I think that's very interesting that they kind of fleshed that out for us. That's awesome. Okay. Thank you so much for your question. That was great. Robin A says, recently a Russian ship was seen around or near the shores of Alaska, creating temporary concern for national security. Were they in fact planting some device that could be used later to invade, harm, corrupt, destroy a pipeline, communications, dirty weaponry, etc.? Or perhaps they were dropping off spies, persons who floated ashore to do mischief. Oh, and then they say recently 2 Russians came ashore seeking asylum after supposedly sailing great distance to arrive in Alaska. So, right, that's a great question. Thank you. So first of all, when I go into this energy of the Russian Navy, and I'm in their energy up around that area of Alaska, and I'm seeing them, you know what they're doing? They're dropping listening devices. There's some sort of listening devices. God, my ears are ringing. There's some kind of listening devices that they're dropping into the water. Now I don't know. They're showing me these listening devices listen for submarines, and they listen for ships, and they're specific. They're targeting underwater activity, because there seems to be energy around. There is energy around the word spy. So there is energy there. And there's energy around a pipeline. There's energy around a pipeline. This pipeline is not, well, it's in the water, but it's close to the surface. Like, I don't know if it's where it comes onto shore. It just feels like I could see this pipeline sometimes at certain tides. So this pipeline is visibly accessible. So yeah, they're doing a lot of things. They're dropping listening devices. They're doing some sort of some kind of spy. I mean, when I go into it, I don't know if I want to go too far into it, but when I go into it, yeah, I see somebody being dropped off, and I see them being picked up. Now, of course, this is in the middle of nowhere. I mean, literally in the middle of nowhere, very rugged and barren, not populated area. But I do see them being picked up by somebody that is not Russian. Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. These people are being picked up by either a United States or a Canadian person. Okay, so yeah, that's what they're doing. The listening devices. They're it feels like they're sabotaging a pipeline. And when that happens, when that what would happen is an environmental disaster. So it wouldn't be like, an explosion or something like that, but it would be an environmental disaster, and it would halt some pipeline flow, but that's not the main. This is weird, I know, but that's not the main thing. The main thing is that it's a big environmental disaster, because what is that going to do, right? That's going to cause all the environmentalists to get up in arms. That's going to cause the environmentalists within the Democratic Party to start infighting against each other. And that's what they want, right? They want the Democratic Party to fight each other, to get upset with each other, to blame each other because you're not doing enough and you didn't do this and you allowed this and you voted for that. And all that infighting is exactly what the Republican Party wants. And we all know who the best friend of the Republican Party is, right? We know that it's a country that starts with an R. So it's interesting to me. The reason that they're doing this is not to cause some big explosion. It's actually an environmental thing, which is really sad, because I'm an environmentalist. So hopefully that makes sense for you. Oh, right. And then also they wanted to remind me that they are patrolling that area because they don't want people, what do you call those people that run away? They don't want people running to Alaska from Russia. I mean, that doesn't look good, right? Again, it's their how they look, their image. So they're also patrolling for that, because if Russians know there's a patrol boat out there, or even if it's I don't know the word, even if it's in secret, they won't take that chance. Okay. So let's just say that all you need is somebody to be made an example of. Let's put it that way. Okay. Thank you for your question. That's a great question. Carrie Polakowski says, the Secret Service and other law enforcement were forewarned of the intent of violence on January 6th, which is a statement that should really rock us all back on our heels. There is proof that the Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies had plenty of knowledge and forewarning. And we know that because they were talking about all the chatter on certain sites and the emails, and one, said how many likes this post got, just an unimaginable number of likes in 1 or 2 hours. And the post was very, I think it was proposing violence. So they knew this. And then the question is, was the lack of protection of the Capitol intentional by some law enforcement agencies or members? And yes, I would say absolutely. And the guides have said this before, to be honest with you, back, soon after Jan 6th, they said there were Capitol Police that were in on this. Period. Game over. There were, they've said this in videos. There were FBI agents that were in on this. There were certainly Secret Service members that were in on this. Absolutely. Absolutely. And those people will have their government, benefits revoked. I mean, not only will they be fired, they'll have their government, whatever, what is that when you have their retirement, and whatever benefits they have will be revoked. And that's the best thing that can happen to them, because many of them will be going to jail. So yeah, the question was, will there be consequences? Yes, there will be consequences. Right now, what I see, Garland is moves like a tortoise. I mean, there's no denying that. But what he's doing is, the longer, I wish I could describe how they're showing this to me. So the longer he allows this investigation to go, time-wise, what's happening is he reaches out, the long arm of the law reaches out and grabs this, let's just say, Secret Service person, brings him in for questioning. Well, that creates a shockwave all the way across the rest of the Secret Service members, but also anybody that might have been collaborating with them, all the way down to the gatekeeper at the White House, literally the security guard, to anybody, literally pages, that work for Congress, that work for Congress people and senators. Everybody is going to be like, oh my God, this has now gotten very real. So what's going to happen is they're going to all start talking to each other, right? Because when you're in a little club and one of you has a problem, don't you call all your other little club members and say, hey, did you see what happened to, this guy or this girl? So as all these people are calling each other and having meetings, the DOJ is watching them. So it's more evidence. He's simply creating an opportunity for these people to run back to their handler or to talk to their friends or co-conspirators and make it known to the DOJ what all this web looks like. So it's beautiful, really, in its simplicity, but in its veracity. So he's on this, and these people will lose everything. I mean, I see people losing houses. I see people losing their freedom, losing, their lives are ruined, really ruined. So, there's going to be consequences. Now, if we were to ask when, I'm going to just tell you, I see this pushing into next year. Biden and DOJ would really like to get well past the midterms before they really start hauling these people in front of judges, one after another. We sort of need to, having almost had our transition of government threatened, there's heightened sense of worry and concern about trying to get through this midterm, get everybody seated, get their vote certified, get them seated into this new Congress, into this new Senate. And then, folks, the gloves come off. But there's not going to be a lot of really big things that are going to happen until that happens. Now, the things that could happen again might come from Tish James or from Fani Willis or, even Bragg, or the, I don't know who they just said. Oh, E. Jean Carroll. So those things can continue kind of moving down, continue going along. But the big things they really want a lot of that to start happening after we settle down after this midterm. I think I'm going to leave it there. They talked about something else, but they'll bring it back if it's important. Okay. Thank you for your question, Carrie. That was interesting. Beth Jursic says, she's curious about the guide's thoughts about Elon Musk and Ukraine and Starlink situation. So Elon Musk has this Starlink system where I guess it's portable internet based on satellites, I guess. And so he was a real hero, right? He went to Ukraine and said, here, have Starlink, have internet out in the rural parts of Ukraine where there's no internet. And now you can connect to your other battalions and potentially to, Zelensky or whatever. So it was a game changer. It really was a game changer. Now they could actually communicate, and it could be encrypted communication. Whereas we know now that the Russians were just using their cell phones, which the Ukraine could listen into. And there's many on YouTube, many videos capturing those conversations. So here's the deal. Elon Musk, according to my guides, now I want to tell you that Elon Musk is a trigger person. You either love him or you hate him. And I don't want to, upset anybody. So I'm just telling you what the guides are saying. If you disagree, you know what to do. 1-800-Spirit Guides, plus press 1 for complaints. Elon Musk is a businessman. He didn't do this out of the beauty of his heart. The United States has been paying for quite a bit of this. If not, I'm hearing 3/4 of it. The United States has been paying for this. Also, they're reminding me that I saw a post or several posts that several Ukrainian and Ukrainian American people were actually paying, funding this for certain battalions. $60 a month, I think, something like that. Plus, I think it's like $500 for the system. So it's been crowdsourced, but a lot of it has been paid for by the United States. So what the guides are telling me is maybe Elon initially gave the materials for less than cost, or I don't know, something, those kits, those $500 kits. I think he did something, but it was a calculated business deal because he knew that he was going to get those subscription monthly payments. Plus, he knew that he was going to get just the kind of press you can't buy. Billionaire helps country, save itself, right? But if you're following any of this, you might know that Elon Musk has come out and said on Twitter, posted a poll on Twitter that makes it sound like the only options available to Ukraine would be Russia, 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 and Russia. And Elon has gotten a lot of grief for that. So Ukraine, right. Oh, right. I forgot. And they were just reminding me that when he did that on Twitter, Starlink went down in Ukraine. Their internet, which now has become a very important part of this war, right? And it's just as important as those HIMARS, which are those shoulder-mounted rockets that the United States has given, or lease lend, or whatever you want to call it, to Ukraine. The internet went dark. They had no communication. And a lot of people think that Musk did that on purpose. And I will ask right now, did Musk do that on purpose? He did it to send a message. Musk is a guy that you cannot, he's unpredictable. They're telling me he's unpredictable, but now I realize that, yeah, he's really unpredictable. So what I just saw was a message. He did black out the Starlink over Ukraine. That was done. That was a thing that happened. And they're telling me he did it because of something that Putin wanted him to do. But then he turned around and walked away from Putin. But I'm going to tell you why, because what I'm seeing is he got a visit from the men in black, the people from the government that you don't want to have a visit from. And now I don't think they threatened him, because I don't think, what could they do? But I do think that they made it right. They're showing me SpaceX, right? So I think there was a little bit of a thing, a little conversation that went something like this. We are working in partner in tandem with you to create these rockets for SpaceX with NASA. And, there's other companies. I think there's Boeing, there's other companies that have rockets. You're not the only game in town. And we're going to start shopping a little harder for some other competition to make sure we get the lowest bid, because, it's a government thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? The government just said, look here, we need you to do this. And if you're not going to play on our team, then you're not on our team. If you're not on our team, then we're not hiring you to do this other work. I think that's reasonable. It's a little quid pro quo, but I think it's reasonable. So that's what happened there. And that's why Elon did a 360, turned the lights back on the Starlinks. they're not going to let him do that. That is not acceptable. Okay. I mean, I'm telling you right now, he got a talking to. I think they didn't mean to scare him, but I think that he pulled a Trump on that one. I think he had to go home and change his tidy whities. So anyway, that's what happened there. I think I've answered your question. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I talk in circles. Okay. Susan Robinson says, her question is, do the guides ever see Pete Buttigieg being president? What a great president he would be. You know, it's so interesting because Buttigieg has been on my mind for a good 6 weeks. And ever so often, right, you see him, I see a headline that says something like, Buttigieg annihilates, this news anchor, or, whoever. I mean, he's gone on Fox News. I mean, he just speaks plain English truth, but he speaks it in a way that's like jujitsu or something. I mean, he's amazing, right? Yes, I agree. Pete Buttigieg is literally probably the one person out of Biden's entire cabinet. I don't think anybody is shining any brighter than Pete Buttigieg. I really don't. Now, I don't see him. He doesn't have like this super burning desire to be president. I mean, I think he would like to be president, but when I go into his energy, I don't see him like, I must be president at all costs, or I'm going to be president. I don't see that kind of energy. I do see him. They're calling him a statesman. He could be a secretary of state. That would be very good for him. I could see him being vice president, and eventually, he's very young, right? I mean, eventually I could see him being president. And to be honest with you, he's got like everything we need, except for that he could be a different color and a woman. That would be perfect, right? But he does have a lot of things that would be nice. Specifically, I want to say that he has this connection to the younger crowd. He seems to understand. I feel like he really gets the 30-somethings. He really gets what they're looking for and what they want. And I think that's going to be important going forward, because these 20-somethings and 30-somethings are not like any of us. They're like radically different than us. So when they start making their voices heard, start voting and getting really involved, you're going to see a sea change, truly a sea change in our democracy. You're going to see different kinds of laws being passed, different kinds of things will be valued than they are now. And you're not going to see this, good Lord, you look at the Senate. If you ever watch C-SPAN, where you're just watching the real action as it happens, it's like a nursing home. It's like, what is this I'm looking at? All of these people are white. They're all silver haired. They all look like they're octogenarians. And I don't think they get, a 30-year-old person or a 40-year-old person. I just don't even think they get it. So that's going to change tremendously. I mean, next 10 years, they just corrected me. The next 8 years, you're going to see a sea change in the Senate. You're going to see much more minority representation and much younger people. So that's good. And that's something that Pete Buttigieg could bring us, could help us through. He could walk us through something like that, which would be helpful. Thank you so much for your question. Freda Stenger says, concerned about President Zelensky, has been talking to MBS. I can't say this country because I have credible evidence that they've kind of targeted me troll wise, and they're the reason why my video went down. But it starts with an S and it's an A and it's a country. I'm sure you can figure that out. To help them in some way, to help Zelensky. So she's saying, Freda's saying that Zelensky has gone to MBS in the country SA for help. Zelensky has something. And so she's worried about Zelensky. I agree. I got to tell you, Zelensky is, look, he's desperate. I don't mean that in a way that he's, that, well, I mean, I don't know. How do you mean it? He's desperate. The man is desperate. He needs to get the help where he can get it. Right now, they're getting bombed by those Iranian suicide drones. And Zelensky he's just going to go get the help he can get and deal with the outcome later. So he's willing to to make a deal with somebody if he needs to. So I don't think it's going to hurt him later. I don't think you can hurt Zelensky. I don't think he cares. You know what I mean? So I go into his energy and he's saying, I've got nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose. I have to work with whomever is willing to work with me. I have to consider all offers of aid. So again, it's that kind of desperation, but I don't think it's going to hurt him. And then the second question is, there's a strong movement in the democratic world towards nationalism and Nazi beliefs. And this has been going on for some time, but it's now coming to fruition. How do I see this playing out? So what they're showing me, and this used to worry me quite a bit. Like it still worries me. I'm not going to lie. It still worries me. Especially when you see these people ending up in government, like in a parliament or in some sort of real leadership role. It's just, it just blows your mind, doesn't it? How I see it happening is this. We live in a dualistic world. We have dark and light, right and wrong, yin and yang. That's our world. We don't live in a world where it's all, one flavor scoop of ice cream. There are worlds like that, but this isn't ours. So ours is always going to have this tension of choice. Now, sometimes we're going to be more at peace, or we're going to be higher vibration, and that lower vibration is going to sink down a little bit. And sometimes it's going to be in balance the other way. Think about trying to balance something. How unusual is it that you literally keep it balanced, and how hard is it to keep it balanced, right? I mean, usually it's like this, like I'm going to keep it balanced. Well, that's normal, right? A little bit is normal. Well, now you might say that we're really out of balance. I'd agree with you. So we're going to bring that back in balance. You can also think about a pendulum. Once it starts swinging, it's going to swing back the other way, and it's going to maybe even swing further. So I think we're due for a swing away from nationalism, a swing away from those sort of Nazi beliefs, but they're not going to disappear. So the best that we can do is to continue to choose love, to choose compassion, to raise our kids with love and compassion, to be loving and compassionate even against those that are not towards us. In that way, we'll continue to raise this vibration, and maybe perhaps we'll get to a point where it's a little higher than it is lower. I don't see Nazi Germany happening again. I don't see it on that level. We're going to stop it way before it gets to that level. I would say Ukraine is about as close as we're going to get. And that's pretty terrible. It's horrible. And it is close. There are definitely some similarities. But we've kept it, and that's true. United States has helped Ukraine. A lot of us in the world are helping Ukraine to keep this from becoming more like that time. But the next thing that we have to deal with is we have to deal with Russia. We have to deal with Russia in their roles on the Security Council and different places where they shouldn't have a role. They shouldn't be on these councils. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to create new pacts of sort of similar interest. And again, this is what Biden is doing. He's going out to all these countries and saying, look, you've got some resources. Let's create a trade pact. I really think he's going to try to change the minds of some of these communist or dictatorship countries through money, through, hey, look, if you play nice, you get to make this money, right? And I don't think anybody asked about Belarus, but right now Belarus is really, Lukashenko is really in the news, and Russia is trying to go through that country to get to Ukraine on a different side. And they're certainly trying to drag, listen, they're using all of these Iranian drones. I mean, hundreds of them. So, you got to wonder if that's tacit agreement from Iran. And you have to wonder if that's why that country S&A is interested in helping out Zelensky. So this thing is kind of heating up. Oh, it's kind of other countries are sort of being drawn in slowly. But I don't see it becoming WW3. And I do think that it's going to come to an end, and something big is going to happen in December in Ukraine that's really going to help them. Now, between, I would say, now and then, it's a little bit dicey. If you watched the last video, or I'm not sure which video it was in, the guides talked about the Srebrenica power plant. And yes, last night I was awake because probably that at 2 a.m, and it went offline, just like the guides said. And which means that there's a chance that, it could, whatever it does, and emit some sort of radiation. Now it has diesel generators, which are backup, which are working, but there is fighting around there. There were bombs that went off near there. So I'm going to be on. I still see a potential for some sort of release. Now, it's not worldwide. It's not going to affect the world. It's not like that, but it could be effective around that area of, right. So this has happened before. This wouldn't be the first time that it's happened, I guess, is what the guides are saying. This has happened before. And obviously they just cordoned off that area, and it's not an area where anybody goes into, and they deal with it. So if this happens again, we're going to deal with it. It's not going to be the end of the world or the end of Ukraine, but it's going to be something that we're all going to have to deal with. And they're reminding me, remember the guide said that if this happens, it's to create a pause or some kind of havoc so that they could attack Kyiv. Well, guess what? They've been attacking Kyiv ever since this thing went offline. They've been attacking Kyiv for hours and hours and attacking other areas in that part of Ukraine, which has not been attacked. And they're telling me that the guide said specifically, every time Putin says there's a ceasefire, this literally came out of my mouth. Every time there's a ceasefire, he attacks. And that's what happened. He called a ceasefire. He said, there won't be any big artillery attacks on Kyiv anymore. No more had he said the words than Kyiv was getting attacked by those drones. So everything the guide said 4 days ago is now happening in real life. So I just want to bring that up because I want to just tell you guys, if there is an emission, it's not going to be good, but it's not the same thing as a big bomb. Okay. Just to give you some kind of perspective on that. Okay. Victoria Cleary says, is Biden to take some action against the SA country at some point? I guess you mean, Victoria, because of the OPEC plus. So the countries around the SA country are OPEC. and then you add Russia and some of the other countries, and it's plus. So OPEC plus decided to curtail their production, which meant that oil went up. And it's hurting Biden right now. I mean, food costs are up, gasoline's going up. Sure, it's going to hurt the Democrats in the midterms. There's no doubt about it. So I guess what you're saying, Victoria, is Biden going to take some action against them? If so, what and when? And also, don't forget that the guides said that 45, the former guy, ex-POTUS, would likely be, if he were to abscond, if he were to run away, that would be one of his locations. That would be a location that he would try to go to, is that country, SA. So there's a lot going on, right? They're trying to negotiate with Zelensky, and at the same time, they're jacking up our prices here, and at the same time, our potentially criminal ex-president, allegedly criminal ex-president, could flee there. So look at that. Like, all eyes are on them, right? And this is not by accident. They want, this is power. When you have the power to change the world's oil price, when you have the power to either accept or deny a rogue president, United States president, when you have the power to turn a war, to make a war turn a new direction, that's a lot of power. And that is what they want. That is what this prince wants. He wants this power. He wants more power than just to be able to adjust gallons or barrels of oil prices. Okay. And this is his power. If you think back, we talked a while back about, and this is what got me in trouble. I mean, I didn't say anything bad, but I just used the name a lot. And then I think that became searchable. I don't know. Anyway, the guides talked about 45 going to another country. And then I saw the prince of that country going to Biden and saying, here you go. Remember? The guide said, here you go. And Biden's like, no. Whoa. That doesn't go to me. That goes to the DOJ. But somehow this prince wanted Biden to be only in communication with Biden, because there needed to be this, it's such a pissing contest, right? These men and their pissing contests. He needed to look Biden in the eye. It's like he's not losing eye contact while he's handing something to Biden. Like, I am your equal. I'm telling you, I am your equal. I'm telling you, we're as good or better than the United States. Now, that's something that he was giving back to us that Biden said, whoa, no. I think that might be 45. I think it might be 45. I don't think he's going to take 45. I think he's going to use them as a bargaining chip, as a power play. You know, look what we have. Like, he's holding up like a rat by the tail. Look what we found. Would you like it back? And you know, how is it a bargaining chip? Well, because you can do this one of two ways. You can do this on the down low through diplomatic channels, but obviously you're not. That's why Biden's like, whoa. That's not, I don't do this. This is, you send your diplomat and you talk to my diplomat, and then we do this thing the way we do it. We don't do it like this. And, you know, this prince is like, yes, we do. I'm doing it this way because I'm calling the shots. So if it's done like that, it's more public. And that's just the thing that the DOJ and Garland and Biden and his whole administration is trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid the publicity of us looking like effing idiots, because we've got this ex-president that's dumb as a box of rocks running around, wrecking everything, wrecking our reputation and making us look weak. making us look like we don't have any control over anything. We don't have any justice, making us a laughingstock. What's better than to have him run away and have him be brought back by his tail? So this is a big power play, and he's in the middle of it, and he is loving it. So yeah, you can expect him to give Zelensky some stuff, whatever that is, weapons, money, aid. You can expect that because that's sending a message. And it's complicated because I think at the same time, and it's just like Elon Musk. At 1 minute, they're working with Putin. The next minute, they're working against Putin. Well, whose side are you on? I'm on anybody's side. I don't care. I don't have to choose a side. I'm so powerful that I can be on 5 sides at once, right? Isn't that the epitome of power? I don't have to choose a side. I am powerful. I can change my mind tonight, tomorrow. Doesn't matter. So that's kind of the energy behind it, right? So yes, I think Biden is trying to handle him, but they're saying to me, he is too hot. The prince is too hot. It's like molten lava. It's glowing. It's so hot. You can't do anything. We don't have the power quotient is out of balance. And that's sad, right? But right now we have to deal with the cards we've been dealt. Biden is furiously busy trying to make sure this doesn't happen again. And we've talked about that before. He's going to bring in many, many, many more hybrid cars and electric cars. He's going to be bringing in other providers of energy. We're going to make our energy, we're just not going to be reliant on one country or even one region. Forget that. We cannot be held, hostage by one region. So again, he's showing me going South America, getting energy resources there. So Biden is doing everything he can at the same time. On one hand, he's dealing with the cards we've been dealt, trying to deal with it. On the other hand, he's busy making sure that this never happens again. So I think that's really good news, right? I mean, here's where we are. Here's what we're dealing with. But here's how we're also making sure in the future we move past this. Now, of course, Republicans can get in office and flub all this up in 10 years or 8 years. But until then, we just have to continue doing what we can. And hopefully, well, yeah, I mean, not to make this video any longer, but they were just showing me the Republican Party is changing, right? The Republican Party is now being held hostage to these this infotainment world where the Republicans just go and get their feedback loop of everything they want to hear. So all these Republicans are sort of dropping out. These Republicans that maybe don't want to be pigeonholed, are dropping out. They're just dropping out of the party, which is leaving behind this group that's just really stuck inside that feedback loop. So I honestly think the Republican Party is going to change dramatically. And they've been saying this. This is nothing new. They've said Liz Cheney will take over the Republican Party, or she will basically tear it in half, stomp on it, burn it, whatever, and create something new. Either a whole new party, or she will allow, right? So she will allow, they're showing me a cat. She will allow these people to be charged and rung up and thrown out and convicted. And then she'll be ready to run. Give her 2 years. Give the justice system 2 years. If she doesn't go into the cabinet, into Biden's cabinet in some way, even if she does, she'll come back out of it to take over a strong position in the Republican Party, quite possibly as a senator. She's not done yet. She's lying in wait and allowing these Republicans to hang themselves one after another. So I'm going to wrap this up. yeah, Spirits Laughing is asking the same question about the saboteurs that I saw at the power plant. I do still see saboteurs. I can't tell if those, to be honest with you, I can't tell if those people that are all dressed in black are good or bad. You know, I mean, they could be there to stop the saboteurs, but I still see the frogmen in the water, like the SEAL type, the mask and the tank and the, whatever you call that, suit that they wear. I still see those two components there at the nuclear plant. I'm understanding now that Ukraine is making a play for that plant, meaning they have forces coming in from the land. And then they have some kind of thing from the water. You cannot take this plant just from the land. You have to do something from the water. And it cannot be visible. It cannot be a ship. It would have to be a submarine or a series of frogmen that literally have some kind of camp. Because I see them coming out of the water to eat. Like I see them being in the water for like 4 hours at a time and then doing rotations. They have some kind of weaponry. There are some mines out a little bit away from the plant. So anyway, the bottom line is that Ukraine plans to take this plant over. I think those guys in black might be on the Ukrainian side, because I think, what is that? Wait a minute. I just saw them opening something. So maybe they're not Ukrainian, because that just freaked me out. Okay. Stop that. Whoa. Okay. I didn't like that at all. I know that's bad. Okay. I saw them opening a valve, like a big, yeah, that was bad. That's bad. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, that's bad. Never mind. They're there. I can't get them to leave. They're there. The thing that I don't understand is the troops, the soldiers that are there that are Russian don't know about them. And the Ukrainians that are there working at the plant don't know about them. They're not known. They're hidden. So I wasn't sure whose side they were working on. And I'm still not sure. Except for I saw them open a valve, which is not good. Again, you guys, if it's an emission, if it's some kind of exposure, it's not the end of the world. It's not World War III. They already have a radioactive force there. Maybe it'll just become more radioactive. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to Blair LaFemine says, wants to know about Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner is that professional basketball player who's being held in China because supposedly she had some sort of drug paraphernalia on her. Not the drugs, but the paraphernalia. I don't know. Anyway, I was asked about this about a month ago, and the guides told me I see her, and it's the same story, so the energy remains the same. I see her coming home in or being free in November, but quite honestly, the end of November, and I see her making her way back to the United States in December. So she may be transported to, like, say, South Korea or something, and where she will receive medical attention, or Hawaii, I'm not sure. She will receive medical attention, and she will be debriefed because she's been held by, they're going to want to debrief her. They're going to want to know everything that happened to her before she can just, walk free away. I do sense that her family, she'll be reunited with her family wherever they are going to hold her for debriefing. I don't think it's in the United States. I really feel like it's in another country, but I do see her coming home. Sadly, she has lost quite a bit of weight. She has lost, obviously, a lot of muscle mass, but not just muscle mass from playing ball, but muscle mass from this sudden weight change. And also, I don't think she gets much room to move around. I think that she's kept in a very small area, and I don't think she gets to just go walking like in an exercise yard or anything. So she's really has this, I don't know the word they're using, when your muscles, it's almost there, but it's not there. Anyway, atrophy. Thank you. Her muscles atrophy. I was getting today, I'm not sure. It's going to be a long, hard road to see if she'll play ball again. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I don't know that her body can overcome, and her psyche can overcome what's happened to her. This has been very traumatic for her. Very traumatic. And you know what? There's a real chance that she might turn around and run for office. This may actually make her, sort of like a John McCain. Now, I'm not saying that she's being tortured like John McCain. I am not saying that at all. I'm saying that sometimes when people have experiences, be they in the military or in some other way, they want to come back and help. They want to come back and say, no, I want to have a voice. I want to help people. I feel like she really and truly might come back and run for office. Not anytime soon. She's got to overcome some things, but maybe within the next 2 years, the next election. But she's okay. She's okay. And let's see. Daniel B says, will Trump be arrested if he fails to appear before the January 6th committee? I don't see that right now. I think he has until the end of November. I think he can delay this, appeal, delay, blah, blah, blah. I think he can do that. I think he can run the clock out until the end of November, quite possibly into December. Now, at that point, because what did we say? The midterms are over. It's all put to bed. It's all certified. People are it's done deal. We feel good about it. I'm telling you guys, when that happens, all these people should really start sleeping in their nice clothes because they're going to be drug out of their beds and they're going to be arrested. So now I can see them making a point of him then, like in December, I can see them arresting him. Yes, not before. They cannot touch this guy before. He's radioactive and he still has too many nut jobs, that listen to him. So they wouldn't do that. But yes, in December, I can see somebody's going to arrest him apparently, or not, maybe not arrest, but indict in December. That's been a constant energy. So yeah, that's good. Thank you for that question, Daniel. Loving Aspect says, I heard that Biden will have 2 to 3 SCOTUS picks. Is Adam Schiff or Jamie Raskin or Merrick Garland on the list? When I ask about Adam Schiff, at least right now, Adam Schiff says he doesn't want it. I don't know why. He feels like he's too young to be on. I mean, he feels, I know it sounds weird to turn down the Supreme Court, right? But it doesn't feel like it does enough. He doesn't, I don't know how to describe it, but I feel like he still wants to be a lawmaker. Now I know he's not going to be, but I feel like he still wants to do something else. I don't know why. Jamie Raskin would like to be on the Supreme Court. He would like that. He would feel like that was something he would like to do. Merrick Garland. Yeah, all right. I think Merrick Garland does want to be on the list, but I don't think anybody's going to confirm him unless we have a supermajority. I mean, this man is going to take down their boy. You think they're going to confirm him? I don't think so. So I don't think they're going to confirm him. Now, there is a possibility that we have enough of a majority that he gets confirmed, but he already got turned down once. I don't see them doing it. Plus, again, I see Biden wanting, again, another female on the court. I really still do think that Amy Coney Barrett could be leaving the court. So then that would be down one female. So I really think he wants to put at least one more female on the court, if not two more. And I definitely think that he would be looking at some other kind of person other than white. So yeah, I'm thinking a Mexican American. Yeah, there's other options. I don't think that Biden is just going to give it to someone who has a name and somebody who is a politician, because politicians come with baggage. So he's going to be plucking some brilliant young mind, like he did with Ketanji, right? He's going to be plucking some brilliant young mind off of the courts somewhere is what I get. Thank you for your question. Sarisha Rao says, will Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock win re-election to the Senate? I get yes. I do get yes, so I think he will win that. And somebody asked this question about Cuba, but I'm sorry I didn't get your name. Will Cuba ever be a free country, right? Will Cuba ever be a democratic country? I do see that, but I think it might take another 10 years, to be honest with you, at least 8 years. But yeah, I do see it happening. You know, I mean, sadly, when I go into that energy, I see Florida. What I see is Florida. I see beautiful beaches, big hotels, country clubs, golf courses. It looks like a little Florida to me. So money. So why is it going to turn Democratic? Because of the money, you know? So yeah, that's what I get there. And let's see if there was one other. The last question is Sweetie Darling Lulu says, what will the reaction from Justice Thomas and Justice Alito once Roe v. Wade is codified? I think they're going to be gone. I don't think they're going to be on the court when it gets codified. I think they're going to be in retirement, and I don't think anybody's going to care. Well, I take it back. Some people will care. Of course, the media will care. Of course, the media will search them out to find out what they have to say. I don't know what's going on with Alito. I don't know. There feels like something could be happening with him, health-wise. Thomas is going to be no comment. Honestly, he's going to be no comment. So they're not going to be on the court when that happens. So that's the reaction is going to be that. I think Alito has a lot of anger. Feels like he has a lot of anger in him. And I think he's going to have a problem like right here in his chest from that anger. So I think that wraps up our video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you're still with me, you know, you get the gold stars. You guys are the toughened, wizened, Susan Lynn video watchers. Watch all the way to the end. I really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for joining me. Take really good care. We still are on the roller coaster. As a matter of fact, we're on the top of the roller coaster where that thing is going chink, 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 and you're just nervous because you know you're about to go down. And as we go into the midterms, you know, it's going to be dicey. Things are going to be, a lot of things are going to be flying around. The guides want you to know you can't always believe what you hear, right? This is what we said earlier in this video. There's going to be a lot of broadcasting, a lot of news that's just not going to be right. It's not going to be accurate. So we really have to kind of go on a news diet between now and mid-November, because it's going to be really up and down, and it's not going to mean anything. If it's going up and down and up and down, it doesn't mean anything. You're just literally riding a roller coaster to nowhere. So it's best to just take some time away from that. Vote early. God, I said the word. Go early and make your choice. Go as early as you possibly can. and encourage your family and friends to do so as well. And take really good care of yourself, okay? And we'll be in touch again real soon, right here on his channel. For entertainment purposes only.